What's up, guys? This is Zach from Misplayz, your Pervy Sage. I know it's been a little bit since I've posted up a video or a deck profile. Life has been a little busy in between work. It's been a little more difficult to squeeze this in, but I just want to let you guys know I am going to be coming back with the content a little smoother now. I will still be bringing you your My Hero content and deck building. And then also BT6 for Digimon is coming out. I don't know if you guys know this, but surprisingly, even though my channel has started with My Hero Academia, I've been playing Digimon for over a year now competitively, won a regional, topped a couple events, and I'm trying to do my best to start exploring that online as well. So you will start seeing some Digimon content with BT6. I will be posting a fathomable amount of deck profiles as I build decks like no tomorrow. I built Star-Lord. I've built a few rare decks that, did good jobs when, outside of their meta time. And I hope I can keep bringing those type of decks, especially into Digimon. My Hero, I'm trying to do the same thing, but it's really difficult with just one set. That being said, anyway, let's get to what you guys are here for, which is the deck profile for Kyoka Jiro. This is a wind profile that I was asked to make. So I've gone ahead and made those changes to the deck. I think the previous or the original version was a good version, but somebody did ask for air, so this is the air list, all right? So to get started, Kyoka Jiro, she has 6 cards in hand and 27 vitality. Her enhance is once per turn. You can look at the top 2 cards of both players' decks, and you may replace them in any order. I don't have to get into how looking at the top 2 cards of your own deck and switching the order is pretty good, especially in a game where every time you play a card, you have to check the top card of your deck. And of course, drawing additional cards in order to manipulate what you draw. But the fact that you also get to look at your opponent's top 2 and at the same time, you don't have to pick, and then you get to put theirs on top. You can coordinate with what cards you're possibly going to play, if you're going to force your opponent to block and remove a certain card. If you have cards that say remove the top card of your opponent's deck, which we'll get into momentarily. It's a very abusive card and a very good setup, and you're going to see how strong it is in conjunction with all her other cards. Now she has 2 responsibilities which are actually very powerful because they actually take place outside of the enhanced step or the battle step. So things like erase can't stop Kyoka's responses, which is a really good piece of knowledge to know. So her first response is after you play a charge attack, it gets +1 damage for each card in the card pool, and after you play a weapon attack, it gets +1 speed for each card in the card pool. Needless to say, we play both weapon or charges between all of our attacks. Some of them have both, and so they gain both benefits. Aside from that, we'll get right now into her cards, and we'll start off with just the assets first. So her main asset, of course, Earphone Jack. We play 4 copies of it. It's a good block. It's a high block for only 1. It's a 1 cost to play. It is a unique, so it does get destroyed, but there are ways to abuse it. So that way when you do build it in the back, you can destroy the one that's possibly already committed. Now it has 2 effects. Response, after you play an attack, discard the top card of your rival's deck. If that attack you played is a charge attack, it gets +1 speed. So we can boost our attack speed by +1, and then again, by manipulating and looking at the top of the deck, we're able to remove maybe a foundation or a check 6 or check 5 in order to set them up to run into those attacks or get rid of those foundations, so that way when they are blocking or when they are attacking or trying to, at least we can force them to commit multiple foundations while doing those and prevent them from being too aggressive. Now its second response is commit after your attack deals damage, ready 1 foundation that has not been readied this combat phase. So that's where that was talking about this commit. If you do end up committing it for its own effect after you dealt damage, there are cards in this deck that say, hey, grab an asset and build it in the back, and when you go to build that in the back, you can destroy the one that's already tapped, and now that one that's been placed in the back, can that attack be used to restand another foundation that is yet to be readied. So that's why we play 4 of them, even though you are uniques, and they are 5 checks, so they're perfectly fine to hit on the when playing your cards. Now let's get into the foundations. We've got 4 copies of Release. This is a 0/4 drop. This says enhance, destroy 1 foundation. Your check block this attack gets a +2 damage. Now sometimes you run into those things where you look at the top 2 cards and you're like, oh no, they're both attacks and you have to block, and you may not have a way to manipulate your way out of it. At least this allows you to cover yourself. So it's not something you would totally abuse too often, but it is definitely something that is good to have in the bag and can be very used wisely instead of just randomly hoping, or just covering yourself just in case. Now it's no, I know it's coming or not. Besides that, it is a 2-up block, so it's not horrible. And then the forecheck isn't the best, but hey, it's a 0 drop, so really good to play when you're trying to stretch out how many foundations you can play early game. Now the other 0 drop we're playing is Requesting Assistance. Now this says enhance, flip, if you have 1 or more momentum, ready 1 foundation that has not been readied this combat phase. This deck plays a lot of flash, and I seem to find that once you start playing 2 or 3 flashes at a time, your opponent tends to let 1 or 2, maybe 1 go, especially when they're not too high damaging. And that being said, you usually get a momentum pretty quickly. This deck is very aggro and can attack multiple times early game. So this just allows me to continue attacking. It's a 2 mid block, so I found that was good. Again, we have the 0 drop, so we can stretch out how many foundations we're playing in the beginning. And then I find it to be proccing pretty normally since, again, you can build the momentum pretty easily. Now we've got 4 copies of Observant Student. What I like about this the most is that it's a 1 block low. There's not a lot of good low blocks, especially for 1, so that was really good. It's a 1/5. Enhance, flip, look at the top card of your deck. Now, it's not the best effect, but it is good. Sometimes you may not want to abuse your look at the top 2 cards immediately, especially if you're expecting your opponent to attack 2 or 3 times and you want to maybe set them up, because if you can block or, cover yourself in those first 1 or 2 attacks, that's probably really good, and then you'll be able to use her enhance ability to check the top 2 and set them up so that they can't do a late or finishing swings, and then they'll either have to decide to stop or overcommit. And then at that point on your turn, because this is an aggressive deck again, you may be able to go in, and if they overcommit too much or try to go for those extra attacks, you're going to be able to do some real heavy damage. And this game plays a lot of mind games, so it definitely sticks your opponent there as to, oh no, what do I do? What's going to happen? Oh, he must have the block, he must not. Oh, my next 2 cards may be an attack, he set me up. So it plays a lot of mind games and gets your opponent thinking instead of just focusing on, oh, I'm just going to do this and this, makes them think of other options and possibly, make the incorrect play. Now we've got 4 copies of Destined for Mainstream Success. This is flip, name the card type, and then reveal the top card of your deck. If the card matches the named card type, add it to your hand. Most of the time, 99% of the time, you're going to go ahead and just pick up an attack. You're going to call attack, because you're either going to get the attack out of the way so you can play a card before checking, or you're going to get the attack out of the way and add it to your hand so you can continue attacking. The only time you're probably going to call Foundation is maybe if you need a specific block that is up top and that you don't have in hand for a perfect block, which I've done before. And then other than that, it's a 2 mid block, so it's a decent mid block as well. Now we've got 4 copies of Plugin. This one says response, flip after a card is committed to your rival's effect, draw 1 card, playable while committed. So you can commit this card due to a stun effect or just due to an effect that says commit, and then you're able to flip it and draw 1 card, so you can at least plus off of that. It also has enhanced, look at the top card of your player's deck, and then you may discard it. This, again, can allow you to get rid of certain cards off of your opponent's deck or your deck if maybe you saw something and you're like, oh no, they have 2 foundations. What am I going to do? You can at least remove 1 foundation off the top by using this effect, or use it yourself to get rid of an attack, again, if you need it, or if you're just trying to avoid a specific draw. And then it's a 2 block up. So again, if you notice a lot of 2 blocks, I don't think there's too many 3 modifiers except for the one I'm about to get to right now, which is 4 copies of Specialist of Sound. This is a response after you check this card, reveal the top card of your deck. You're going to abuse this card a lot with a specific attack that allows you to stack cards on the top of your deck, so it continues to see a 3rd card in. And then response commit after an attack is played, it gets -3 speed. This isn't, I've found, to be the best. I used to love this card, but I've since it manipulates the speed prior to, it's really good against flash cards, of course, but prior to the enhanced step, once you enter the enhanced step, there are a lot of cards that could reset the speed or give it speed bonus, so it can come back in the -3 speed. because it has to be committed. You know, you can now commit it to foundation, and you're like, oh man. And you don't really get an option to not use it after the fact, so you kind of have to use it in that window. So that's where it comes a little like not the most flexible card, but still a good card. And again, very powerful against those flash attacks. Other than that, it is a 3 modifier low block. And then we've got 2 copies of Latent Skill. Enhance, flip, discard 2 cards, draw 2 cards. This is intentionally here specifically to attack or do a combo attack. If we look at the top 2 and we see that there's 2 attacks up top, we're just going to go ahead, flip this, discard 2 cards, and draw 2 cards, and get those 2 attacks in hand. It's very powerful when we're going in for those aggro or kill games. So Latent Skill, pretty powerful. But other than that, I usually don't use it too often. And that's why it's only at 2. And then we've got 2 copies of Aggressive Temper. Now, I have a card that does require me to discard a card, and I play 4 of them. So I've decided to play this card, which has response after this card has entered your discard pile during your attack's enhanced step. Your attack gets +2 damage. So it just gives it an additional +2 damage, and it's got a 2 block mid, and the previous one had a 2 block high. So again, we've got some pretty decent blocks that aren't too expensive, and we're definitely going to be able to take advantage of the ability when it gets sent to the discard. I don't believe we do have the release foundation that also destroys a foundation, so we could also destroy this to pay the cost for a block, but you know what? I take that back, guys. I just realized that's only for blocks, and this would only really help you to gain 2 damage on your own. So primarily it is going to be for the attacks, which we're going to get into now. And so we'll get into the first attack, which is Improvised Blade. We play 4 copies of this. This is one of those flash attacks I was talking about. So it's 4 to play, 3 to check. It's a 3 mid, so it's not the best block card. Oh, I'm sorry. It's only 3 of them, by the way. They just looked alike. So I'm sorry. It's 4/3, 2 block modifier, and it's 3 speed, 4 damage. Now this is a weapon, so we do get our response from Kyoka to get that plus speed for each card, including itself. And then it has a combo charge, so most likely you have at least one other card in the back following behind it. And it's combo off of a charge attack, which combo enhance says this attack gets +1 damage for each card in your card pool. So most likely you've played this after another attack. This is probably your second attack, and now you're getting a +2 damage from its combo enhance, and most likely a +2 speed from Kyoka due to her response. So you're already coming out with 5 speed, 6 damage on this attack, and then it has a deadlock enhance, which this attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage for each card in your card pool, essentially making this a +2 in combination with Kyoka and its combo enhance to really go off. But we already all know that I'm sure we're not going to be seeing too many deadlocks. But it's good to prevent people from going into that, because if they do, this really is one of those deadlocks that I like a lot, that really does take advantage and gain a good advantage from deadlocking. Now we've got, it looks like Amplified Sound Blast. This is the one we play 4 of. This is the flash. It's the 4/3, the 3 bid block, and then it's got 4 speed low and 4 damage. So it's a low attack, so that's decent. It is flash, so that means no enhanced step. We're going straight into there, but we still get our responses from Kyoka, which gives it +1 damage, because it is a charge attack for each card in the card pool, either making it a 5 or higher in damage immediately. And then it does have an enhanced ability while in the momentum. You can flip your next charge or weapon attack this turn gets -2 difficulty. So this is a card that also you want to probably use early game. It does have flash, so it gets its most advantage early game, and then if you can get it into your momentum, you're going to be able to take advantage of spamming attacks later in the match and going in for those kills. Now we've got 4 copies of Unwavering Slash. Now this is the card I was talking to that has a lot of combos, and it's probably my second favorite card in the deck. Now, Unwavering Slash is a charge and a weapon, so you're going to get both responses from Kyoka Jiro. It is a 5 cost of play and 3, and most likely you may want to use this as your first or possibly third attack, depending on what you have in momentum to flip for the following to make it cheaper to play or such. It has powerful too, so you can boost its attack even further. And then enhance, discard one card, build one asset from your discard pile face down. This is where I was talking about with the aggressive temper card from Bakugo, being able to discard it and giving your own attacks +2 damage, giving this attack +2 damage to be precise. And then build an asset card from your discard pile. Because this specifically builds an asset directly to your foundation, let's say you've already committed your your earphone jack earlier, we play 4 of them, most likely you may have another one either in your hand to discard or one in your discard pile to add to the back, and then you can destroy the one that's already committed since it is a unique. And then enhance, if you have one or more assets, ready one foundation that has not been readied this combat phase and draw one card. So this card also allows you to ready a foundation, set up the asset, which also allows you to ready a foundation, and then you draw one card off of that. So the card you discarded is replaced not only on the foundation, but in your hand as well. And then with Kyoka Jiro, being able to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and reorganize them, you can set up what you want to draw as well. Besides that, it is a low block for 2, and that's about it for this attack. But you can see this is definitely one of the heavy hitting attacks in the deck. Now, here's a little bit of sauce. We've got 4 copies of Home Run Comet. Now, this is pretty much the extra air portion that isn't Kyoka. You've got weapon and charge. So again, you're going to be getting that both responses for +1 speed, +1 damage. But now we have Powerful 1, which is okay. But what makes this card amazing is that it has an enhance that adds 1 foundation to your momentum, which if we could afford it, we will. And then the second enhance is what makes this card amazing. This attack gets +1 to its powerful rating for each charge or up attack in your card pool. This is already an up attack and a charge, so it already considers itself for 1 rating. If you have any of your other attacks essentially that have charge or that are an up attack, I believe there's only one that's a weapon and is not an up attack, which is our Improvised Blade. Other than that, everything else is a charge or an up attack. So again, using this later on, after 2 or 3 cards in, you're getting multiple response boosts for speed and damage, and then you're able to boost its rating to 2, 3, maybe even 4 powerful. And at that point, just discarding 1 or 2 momentum is going to make this attack hit like a truck. Besides that, it's got a block modifier of 1 mid, so it's a great blocking card as well. And now we'll get into the last card. Probably this one is my favorite card in the deck. Specialized Sound Wave. It's honestly, the art of this card is the reason I built the deck. I fell in love with just the art alone. So it's a 3 cost, 2 to check. So that's the most hurtful part, is that it's a 2 to check. It's probably, I hate that it's a 2 to check, and I won't lie. When I'm playing my foundations early game, at least in the first turn, I'm playing with the idea of checking for 2 most often. That's why I played the extra zeros, and if you notice, I think I played regular amount of 1s, but I definitely played an extra set of zeros to try and make sure that I could afford to play for 3 to 4 foundations early game, even running into this card. Now, this card is a charge, so it gets the plus damage. It is an up attack, so it can help with Home Run Comet. It's a mid block for 1 as well, so again, super powerful block. And it's 2 responses, so because it's a flash, it's going to bank off response effects, of course. And its first response is after you play this card, draw 1 card. Now notice it says after you play this card. That means that if you were to use this as a block, you would also draw a card, just as a good tip and advice when using this card. Its second response is you can remove 1 momentum after you play this attack, add up to 2 cards from either player's discard pile to the top of their deck in any order. I can't explain how good this card is for that. If you especially if you have the multiple foundations, multiple momentums to trigger this off multiple times, having these in your discard is not a bad thing either. Because if you can get 1 off and you have the momentum, you could set up another one on top of your deck along with a foundation right under it with the 5, and then trigger its other response to draw 1 card. So you could trigger the first response, set up the top 2, maybe put another one of these copies up top, and then that's why we specifically put Specialist of Sound on top as well. Because then once we play this card and we we draw our next card, which is another one of these, and we play it again. When we're checking, we're going to guarantee check the Specialist of Sound, which is also going to give us a look at the next card in case we want to do a different type of setup or something else. Other than that, when you're playing it, you can cycle this and abuse to another one and to another one. So having two in discard and triggering one off is very powerful. I've also triggered it by discarding one momentum, which was one of these within the momentum, and then sending it to the discard to set it to the top of the deck to draw it off of its draw in hand, draw response. But yes, this is my favorite card, Specialized of Sound, and this is Kyoka Jiro Air. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I will be coming at you with more videos today. I will actually be putting up a Midoriya deck for people that are getting into the game. I just got them in. It's 2 rival decks. And so this is actually going to have 100% just rival deck cards, but you are going to require at least 2 rival decks to build it. But I believe it's a very sturdy deck. I have been testing it against my Fumikage teammate player, and I was able to do some good plays, and same against the my other teammate who plays Shigaraki. And that was a bit of a rockier match. I think we went to game 3 and he did win, but considering that it was only the rival deck cards, I think it did pretty well, and I hope you guys will like that video. All right, you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you next time in our next videos.